Ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, we have a huge announcement today. You've been seeing it all over Instagram. Our huge $10,000 giveaway has morphed into something even bigger. So we have our winners today. Very exciting, Ferrari.
Very exciting. Will Armijo, Whitney Uria.
So Will and Whitney are our winners. But for our audience, explain what this was and what the giveaway was.
We had a $10,000 giveaway from the lovely Dr. Natalia Borakowski over there. Aesthetic makeover. So basically, we had a beautiful discussion around first cultivating this sort of inner strength, but also the balance of what it's like to be able to allow the external to match what that internal feels like. So after careful consideration, these two were the lucky winners.
So I don't know what all that means. I guess we're going to shine the penny, so to speak, and tell them. So we're going to make them even more beautiful. So tell us about your practice, your business, and what you specialize in.
I am a naturopathic physician. So my approach to everyone, it's always cultivating beauty from within. I really believe that healthy skin starts with a healthy body. So healthy nutrition, healthy lifestyle, that's essential from really get that inner beautiful glow, the spark in your eyes, that radiant skin. It cannot really come from just the superficial treatments alone. But once you achieve that balance and you're already at the best shape you possibly can be for your age, your gender, now we can use aesthetic medicine to its advantage and we can polish up and tweak a little imperfections. We can address little blemishes in the skin. We can correct some volume deficiency. We can use those non-surgical treatments to give the best appearance possible. Because to me, aesthetic medicine, it's sort of really close to mental health as well. So as long as you feel good outside, you feel even greater inside.
That's beautiful. And you guys are being very brave today because we're going to actually have Natalia here walk over and we're going to point out their blemishes, right? You're going to point out their blemishes. You're going to say, this wrinkle, this, that, and the other thing. And this is going to be the pre-show, the before, if you will. And there's going to be a makeover. And then we're going to come back in a matter of days, weeks, I don't know how long, and we're going to see your results.
Yes. Well, first, I wanted to say this is going to be a gradual approach. We're not doing plastic surgeries, so the process will take a few months. So please bear with us. It will be transformation. We will try to share as much steps as possible as long as our beautiful winners allow to sort of video some procedures. But now we can talk specifically about those very different individuals.
And I wanted to point one other thing out. You can kind of make your way over here, but sometimes we don't even know what's available. Like we have this relatable thing, like I see this and I see this, but she's got these cutting edge formulas and it's so nice to just air it out. Here it is. It's out in the open. Here's what a lot of people notice. And here are these latest and greatest things that you can do to in a very natural way, because we all know what it looks like. Will was sending me photos. Please tell me I'm not going to look like this. And this is guy overdone. And we've seen that. And it's kind of like wildfire today. But this is going to be the natural way. And what's going to be so cool is we'll be able to track the whole process through the months. And then we'll present it in one, like, here's the before, here's the after, and here's what's available for everyone.
So no duck lips? I was hoping for duck lips.
We're going to save that for you.
Okay. All right. So why don't you walk us through, let's start with Whitney here and walk us through what you're looking at and what you would recommend for changes.
Okay. Well, first, we don't have to really say that Whitney is a beautiful woman, right? She's starting to see some signs of aging and we see few very light blemishes on her skin. So we're going to start with, I call it a fresh canvas. So we'll be using great medical aesthetic skincare and laser treatments to help to address fine lines and little blemishes on her skin. So once we do a couple of those treatments and get that beautiful canvas, then we'll work on the actual form or shape of her face. And for that, we'll be using absorbable surgical sutures to help tighten and reposition fat and give her that subtle lifting effect. She doesn't really have much volume loss, so it's very unlikely we're going to use some filler. If anything, perhaps she will get a little bit of a lip filler to just plump up her upper lip specifically, but a couple neurotoxins at the end, and yes, and she's going to be probably done with her little transformation in about 2 months or so, 2 to 3 months.
Okay, wonderful. And let's go over to my man over here, Will. So specifically, like for men, we can have a guy-to-guy conversation here.
Let's do it.
So for men, like this is kind of you coming out very publicly today and stating like, yeah, I congratulations, you know, you're one of our winners, and you're open to having somebody like Natalia make you look a little better, freshen it up. We've talked about this a lot. It's very acceptable, you know, with women, but with guys, I think a lot of guys secretly, gentlemen I know, are doing this type of stuff, but they don't want to advertise it. They don't want to put it out there because it's not acceptable in our culture. So I really kudos to you, hand claps to you for coming out here. What are we seeing, Natalia? What are we going to do here with Will?
Well, first I want to echo to what you just said, Billy, because it's very true. Men very resistant to come to plastic surgeon offices, aesthetic offices. They do not want to be feminized. And honestly, good aesthetic provider would never feminize this beautiful male figure right there. So the main concern Will has is hair loss, which unfortunately not that easy to fix. So yes, it will be part of his treatment plan, but it will take a good 6 months until we really see the results for this. So we're going to see the other changes in his face before we actually get him to the goal of hair growth. And we already chatted about it, and I think he's good for long game, right? Well,
let me ask a question about that, because I could tell you for women and for men, this is a thing. And nobody really wants to talk about it, but there are, even though it's gradual, because obviously everybody knows about the hair plugs and the things like that, because women too, in the front, we start to see that just sort of like not as thick. Alexia and I were talking about this the other day. So the hair starts to change a little bit, but what we don't know is there's these sort of like cutting edge natural ways to bring the hair back. Could you just talk about what that is for a second?
Well, first I wanted to say there's a significantly different approach for hair loss for men and hair loss for women.
Yeah.
Women are very complicated creatures, and our hair loss, unfortunately, complicated process. I really urge women who start to suffer from hair loss to get a comprehensive blood work before they consider cosmetic, aesthetic hair transplant, lotions, potions, would call it. Because often there is dysregulations in your body that actually causes that. Like, for example, in younger women, we see iron deficiency anemia, very common cause. Very commonly goes undiagnosed, but once you correct it, and it's very easy to correct, all of a sudden you got a full head of hair. And you might have spent thousands of dollars on topical products and got nowhere, right? As you continue to age, there's hormonal imbalances, there's stress, there's different changes in diet, you know, there's toxins like a heavy metal poison. There's so many different things that happen to women. In men, fortunately, they're a lot more simple. Typically, as men age, their byproduct of testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, start to rise, which is very toxic to hair follicles. So if we are going to treat this man naturally, we can use herbs like saw palmetto, for example, to treat dihydrotestosterone and then lower it. And obviously use other things like PRP injections. We're going to do that for Will. We can use topical solutions like minoxidil, which also helps with that dihydrotestosterone. So for men, usually we see better results faster as long as they're okay with the needles in their scalp, which, you know, men actually not so great with the needles overall. But once they commit to the process, we get great results fairly shortly, like 3 to 6 months, you get a really good hair growth.
Yeah. And we'll be sure to list all of the things that she said, just so we say it slowly. And so like as a man, because you were starting to talk to him about it, and I kind of want to dig in just a little bit. There were so few men that entered the contest, which is why you know, like little did you guys know, like most of you kind of wanted, because if you see all these guys, like who's the soccer player, we listed it in our reel, the soccer
Ronaldo.
player, Brady, you see there's something going on here. Let me show you before and after. But yet guys don't really know how to approach it. And I know you were probably just signing up to be supportive, but little did you know you were gonna win the whole thing. Tell me about like what this is for you.
No, I mean, I looked into the giveaway and I was like, this is really cool because you guys are right. This is now coming more into the market. It's more acceptable. More guys are wanting to do it. And it's funny what he brought up earlier. I find out about a lot of my friends who do Botox from their girlfriends or wives before them. And then I approach, I'm like, oh, I see you. And then they're, oh, and I'm like, hey, it's cool. Like, nobody, it's fine. But yeah, it's people are doing it a lot more. And I've always taken a natural, holistic approach to everything I've done. So to meet with the doc and hear a more natural approach to it, it's going to be long term. It's fun to me. Like, why wouldn't I want to optimize my appearance at this point in my life? I just turned 37. So this is perfect timing for me. Like, I'm not, you guys could document the whole thing. I don't care.
That's
I
awesome.
love that about
I love that.
right?
Yeah, document it all.
Secret. Everybody's dealing with the same stuff, and you're incredibly healthy. But why not?
Why not?
Can you talk to us about Will's face? Get your hands right on his face. Like, what would you do?
He's very different from Whitney's. You will see a more softer, feminine, more volume on Whitney's face. And Will, he's very lean. He works out a lot. He has a lot of volume loss, especially in the mid face right here. So this is essentially what ages him the most. So we need to correct that. In my personal opinion, I hate using hyaluronic acid filler here because that's essentially a piece of jelly, which temporarily can give him volume, but over time it can slide back, make this part of the face look heavier and feminize him. So we're going to use a different type of filler, carboxyapatite filler called Radius. And that's a wonderful filler. We can use it as a biostimulator, which will gradually thicken the skin itself and create natural collagen, his own volume. And we're also going to use Radius in his jaw and accent his jaw even more. Give him not necessarily that kind of a blockhead look, but definitely more sharp, more masculine. So it's going to take years off his face, just adding very subtle, natural volume to the mid cheek and then accenting and sharpening the jawline.
So one thing I want to ask about, I guess, for women and men is the inevitable wrinkles, right? And I'm looking at you, and I don't know how old you are, Natalia, but like you have no wrinkles. So what do you do about those lines that are like across the forehead? I mean, other than Botox, is there anything you can do?
That's a fantastic question. And I just want to say it on the record. I repeat it a million times over and over. Botox or whatever neurotoxin does not erase wrinkles. It's a muscle paralyzer. It gives your skin a window of opportunity to repair, to stop moving and wrinkling over that muscle, so then the line can soften. So if we're treating a mimic line, meaning the line is only visible when the person smiles or frowns, those wrinkles will go away immediately as soon as toxin sets in. But if you have a static line, which we can see some in Will's forehead, we can see some on Whitney's forehead, we need to feed the skin. We can use other techniques to stimulate collagen production. And there's so many wonderful treatments out there. But ultimately, you need to take care of your skin at home. So that's when skincare is really essential. And it's not necessarily trying to say that we want our patients to use million products. The routine have to be simple, but every product on your face need to be designed for your skin and used with purpose.
Okay. One other thing, are you done with them as subjects right now?
Well, not really.
Not really?
We're going to inject them sometime.
Okay.
But,
Well, come back and sit down just because I want to make sure we hear you very clearly on the mic. So one other thing that I was curious about when I was thinking about this conversation today was like how somebody physically expresses themselves. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that they laugh a lot. There's a lot of people that frown a lot. There's a lot of people that have certain facial movements, as do I. Does that, and I hear this, I don't know if it's a rumor or a conspiracy theory in your world, that a lot of people that have really good skin, they're very careful about how they move their face. Because if you're doing the same movements over time, you're going to see those lines. Speak to me about that.
I love expressing with my face. And I would hate for my patients to feel like their face need to be a sort of frozen mask for them not to develop wrinkles. Overall, I believe that wrinkles, just wrinkles alone, do not age the face. What really makes us look older as we progress through life, it's the change in shape of our face. So female faces typically get heavier lower down, male faces rounds and becomes more feminine. So we start both genders start to look more like each other. So if we avoid that, and if we trying to maintain that natural aesthetic shape of a youthful face, that face, even with wrinkles, will still look very attractive. You can see it in Hollywood stars, for example. There's many, both male and females, actresses and actors, they have wrinkles, and yet they look hot and they look young, right?
Brad Pitt. Let's show a picture of Brad Pitt.
Insert Brad Pitt here.
Yeah.
So my only other question, since we have you here locked in the studio while you're here and you're the expert on this stuff, is when I wake up in the morning, I don't know how you all feel, and then I go right to the mirror to brush my teeth. I'm like, oh shit. And it's like, whoa, scary. And I don't know if it's because I've never took a video of myself sleeping. I don't know what it is, like how I'm sleeping on the pillow. but I get these like these two sharp lines from the top of my hairline down. And I think it's a pillow line. And so I've been lately, maybe TMI, trying to adjust how I sleep because it takes a matter of hours. And sometimes I got to come in the studio here early. It sucks. Before those lines kind of naturally set and organically go away. Is there anything as we sleep? Is there some kind of special fabric or any kind of special mask or something we should be using when we sleep to avoid that?
There are plenty things out there. Personally, I don't really follow that fad of using specific pillow when your neck is prepped up, so you're sleeping like a mummy and you're not moving your head. Perhaps helpful, but ultimately, the problem is we lose collagen as we age. So we use 1% of collagen after age of 25, I believe. So if I'm wrong with the age, correct me. But essentially, if you add the years, you really realize how much collagen your skin lost. Same thing happens with our muscles, with our bone. Our body atrophies and sort of degrades as we age. Very terrible thought to think about it, but we can use aesthetic medicine and we can use good skincare into our advantage. And yes, some days you're going to look worse than others, and it's okay. I have days when I wake up and I look at myself and I'm like, oh my God, and then some days you look fantastic, and it's okay because we're bleeding, breathing, biological bodies. You're not a doll. You're not, fake, some kind of, creature. So it's okay to have imperfect days. Imperfections makes it more human and more attractive, in my opinion. But ultimately, fighting the atrophy. As we take in our body to the gym to preserve muscle mass, we can take our skin to the gym with correct ingredients that we put on our skin every day and with a little help tweakments of aesthetic medicine.
And I just want to say one thing. So I loved how gracefully you explain everything. But there's one thing that I find that is so powerful. One, be graceful about the process of life. We don't have to fight it. And two, there are these sort of like hidden secrets that don't need to be secrets that are available that guide the process where we can still be graceful. And listen, when you're 60, you shouldn't look like you're 30. Let's cut that out because you're not fooling anyone. And that's what I think we want to prevent. Like there is that sort of, but there are people that are older in age and you can just feel this vibrance from like illuminating from them because there's a grace. And that's why I want to loop it always back to that internal space because there's a surrender that happens where you just allow the process, but then you're okay to still do all of these playful things that are available to you in life that just some people don't know about them.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to walk you through the process, and it'll be so informative, these guys' journeys, because it's so relatable to everybody.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Are you guys excited? Are you scared after having her come over there and say what I was like, whoa, this is like a major thing. Are you excited? Are you scared? Are there any concerns with maybe partners in your life or friends or colleagues to say, hey, Will, hey, Whitney, like what the hell you got going on? Because there is going to be a process where it's going to be very clear that they're undergoing some form of treatment.
Well, for me, I'm super excited about it. I'm excited to document it all. I kind of document my whole life on social media anyway. So I think this will just add to it. I'm excited to get feedback from people, have people watch the journey. So I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Whitney?
I am so excited, but also so nervous because I've been doing the internal work for so long. So to have something reflect how I want to feel on the outside and have that align is really the journey that I'm excited for, is to see what your gift is, looking at me, doing whatever you want to do, and just waking up one day and being like, that's what I finally see in the mirror.
Well, I think we found two amazing candidates, and we have the amazing Natalia. I can't wait to see what the future is. So we're going to put this out there. We're going to fast forward. I think you said a couple months, right?
Yes.
And fast forward a couple months, and then we're going to see the before and the after of these beautiful people's transformation. And I'm a little jealous.
You should be.
I'm a little jealous.
Go see Natalia. You don't have to be jealous.
It's a connection.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you all for joining us here at Star Worldwide Networks. Make sure you're liking this video, subscribe, and get in touch with this woman if you want to have your inner body feel as good as your outer body. I think it's a very important and healthy thing to do.